Hello, welcome to today's lesson. Please don't forget to subscribe. Today we are going to discuss strand number 1, mixtures, elements and compounds, grade 8 work. So we shall start with the elements and compounds. So we're going to discuss about elements and compounds. Here, first of all, we have to know the definition of an element, the definition of a compound, among many more other things. So we shall start with the meaning of an atom, an element, molecules, and compounds. So before we go further, first of all, we need to know what is matter, because this is the chemistry part of integrated science and it deals with matter. So matter is anything that occupies space and has mass. Everything that occupies space and has mass, we call it matter. A chair, a table, human beings, anything, maize, anything, we call it matter. So from there, we continue. Matter is composed of pure and substances and mixed. So this thing called matter is made up of pure substances and sometimes it's a mixture. A mixture is a physical combination of two or more substances. We call it a mixture. So from there, we continue. Pure substances can be elements or compounds, while mixtures can either be uniform or non-uniform. So these pure substances, we call them elements or compounds. That's why most of the time when you're describing an element or a compound, you have to start with the word pure substance, because these are pure substances that are categorized into elements and compounds, while mixtures can be either uniform or non-uniform. So uniform mixtures, we call them homogeneous, grade 7 work, and non-uniform mixtures, we call them heterogeneous, still grade 7 work. So from there, we'll continue. An element. What is this thing called an element? So an element is a pure substance that cannot be decomposed into similar substance by any chemical or physical means. So a pure substance that cannot be split or that cannot be decomposed into similar substance by chemical or physical means, we call it an element. We call it an element. So we can continue. An element is a pure substance which cannot be made into simpler using chemical means still. So most of the time you'll be asked by in an exam to say what's an element, or to give the meaning of an element. Your answer should be simpler. A simple substance that cannot be split into simpler substance by chemical or physical means should be your answer. So elements are the building blocks of matter. Sure. They are the building blocks of matter. And matter, of course, has 3 states, which are solids, liquids, and gases. So everything around is made up of an element or elements. Anything you see in this world surely is made up of one element or elements. For example, the human body is made up of elements, mostly carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. But everything that you see is made up of elements. So atoms are same elements. Atoms of same elements are identical. So an element has what we call an atom, and this atom of the same elements are identical. So an element is made up of an atom, and these atoms are identical. Right, but what's an atom? An atom is a particle of an element that takes part in chemical reaction. Any particle of an element that takes part in chemical reaction, we call it an atom. So right now, you already know the meaning of an element, which is a pure substance that is made up of 2 or more. An element, which is a substance that cannot be split by any chemical means. And we say elements are made up of atoms. And from there, we say an atom is a part of an element that takes part in chemical reaction. So from there, we go to a compound, the definition of a compound. So what is this thing called a compound? It's a pure substance that is consist of atoms of two or more elements that are chemically combined. So when you take two or more elements and we put them together, we call it a compound. So any substance that is made up of two or more elements chemically combined, we call it a compound. So compounds are formed when atoms of different elements react. So when we react different elements, we form a compound. So compounds can be broken down into elements through chemical reactions. We can reverse it further through chemical reactions. So, for example, when you take sodium and chlorine, which are elements, we get what we call sodium chloride, which is a compound. We are combining two elements. Another example, for instance, when you take carbon plus oxygen, these are two elements, you end up getting carbon dioxide. You end up getting carbon dioxide, which is a compound. So that marks the end of our class today. We were supposed to know the meaning of atom, element, and compound. So in our next class, we'll be relating with the common symbols of different elements. But that marks the end of our lesson. Thank you.